I was not sold on the new Lego vending machine when it first came out. Although I am a big sucker for cool mechanical things and how Lego puts them together, I was holding off until I saw all the reviews from you guys and how everybody loved it. So between that and just my interest in being able to see how this was built and recreated here, decided to check it out. So let's go take a look. Right away, it looks really cool in the box with the red color, and you can tell that it was very meticulously designed. So first thing you get into is open up the box, and the first thing you pull out is these new clear pieces, which are going to be used later for the top of the build. As you get into bag one, first thing you build is the first of 16 minifigures that go with this set. And that's really, I think, one of the coolest things is the different minifigures you get. And what happens is you put the minifigure pieces into those little balls. Those are going to be what come out of the vending machine when we're done. As you're getting into bag one, nothing too spectacular here, but you can start to see how they're building the smooth pieces and the slopes that are going to get these balls to roll out of the machine. There are definitely plenty of different tiles that are included in this set to help make those smooth floors that these vending machine balls are going to roll around on. As we get into bag two, really love to see a turquoise spaceman. There are one or two minifigures in each bag for a total of 16. Really interesting to me, the difference between the very sleek outside with all of the curved, especially red pieces, versus the inside, which, while still looking very elegant, is also very practical in making sure that pieces don't get caught up on the inside. Here you're starting to see the formation of the ramp that's going to bring the balls from the top of the structure down into this finishing hole. Really interesting here how they kind of built this angle here with those two 1x2 pieces on the edges there, just creating a unique angle, and that piece is locked in there that the balls will ride along on their way out. And here is another ramp piece. It will not go in as an angle like the one below it, just kind of stacks on top. So now you can kind of see the path forming of how the balls are going to roll out of this apparatus. And in this next few steps here, we're really building out some of the inside structure. Notice how everything in there is rounded. I thought the instructions were very informative in how they talked about some of the struggles the designers had to build out these insides so that none of those balls get caught as they're being circulated around. We had that turquoise spaceman before, and now we've got a gold one who is also very cool. Now the rest of bag four is very much about completing what we can call the first level of this machine up till the level where the balls sit. Also starting to build up the rod that goes up through the middle of the whole machine that will help circulate the balls, but more on that to come. Now we get into bag five, and after we build this cool retro knight, really get into the guts of the mechanism and how this is going to work to be able to put that coin in and make the thing rotate and spit out a ball. Now, this is a pretty complicated little series of instructions. Really urge folks, especially if you're not too experienced in Lego, go slow and just be real careful as you're going through each of these steps. What we're building here is the handle that comes out the front of the mechanism that you're going to be able to turn and make the balls pop out. Now, one of the reasons this little thing is so complicated is you want to make sure that it can only turn the crank one direction. That's kind of how these things are designed, and more of why once we get further into the build here. So now we've got this mechanism mostly built. Now we're going to build a little frame for it to sit in, and then the frame is what connects to the main build. So we have that put together, and then we're going to add a few more pieces that are really going to anchor this in so that it doesn't wobble and it stays very solid. Now this round piece that we're building here doesn't look like a whole lot, but as it comes together, that is going to be a key piece that makes the whole thing work, because that little black piece there on the top, the coin slides down onto that. So now we've built this rotating mechanism and got it into a frame. It's time to mount it onto the actual build. Now it's time to test it, make sure we've built everything correctly. So once you've got it put into place, then you try and rotate it. If it's going well, it's going to make a very fun sound. Notice how it's only going to turn clockwise, it will not turn counterclockwise. Now we get into bag 6, and I'm old enough to remember Fabuland from the early 80s. By the way, that's a new character. His name is Bernard Bear. Now it's time to add perhaps the most important piece of the whole apparatus. I've seen some frustration with people who are building the vending machine and getting the gears to work correctly. Let me show you a little tip that's not shown in the instructions. Now we're to the part here where we're adding this piece, okay, which it goes in just like this. Now the trick here, the instructions, is this piece needs to be able to squeeze onto this, because what happens is, this isn't the actual piece, but when they put the coin in, it's supposed to come down, push that blue piece back, and then you can rotate the mechanism. See, if that blue piece is not in there, and then this is fully extended, this won't turn. But you put this in, it squeezes that blue piece out, and then you can rotate it, okay? Just like that. Now, what you might want to do when you're building this and you're putting this in, you want to make sure it's squeezing on that, you know it's working correctly. Squeeze it, but then rotate this so that you have an idea of how that's going to work, and that'll help you make sure you have it in the right place. See, you rotate it and it stops because that popped out. Just make sure you rotate it back so that black round piece is at the top before you continue the build. So most of the mechanical parts of this build are complete. So we're back to building the frame and the outside. Now, one thing I'll caution against on really any Lego build, but especially this build, be really careful and follow the instructions. Don't go too quickly, because this step right here, see, I put that piece that's got the blue top there, I put it on backwards. It's facing the wrong way. So I realized there's a few steps in, and I had to go back, retrace my steps, flip that around so that it worked. And until I flipped it around, the whole thing was not going to work. It was going to be a big failure. So these two parts right here were a lot of fun to build, just because I was trying to figure out as I was building, how is Lego going to get these to go together and create the rotating thing on the inside of this that will cause the balls to fall. So here's how it works. These two pieces kind of fit in here on top of each other. There's one that is connected to that central apparatus, and then this second one here connects everything back to the frame. Now we finish off the crank on the front of the whole build and create the little coin that will operate the whole thing. Stick it into the hole. It's triggered the mechanism, turn the crank, and you can see that black plate on the inside. It is rotating. Now we'll take another close-up look here. Insert the coin, which is pushing that little blue flange back that we'd shown you earlier, and then it allows you to turn the crank, and the inside apparatus spins around, and it's going to spit out a ball. Now we get into bag 8, a couple more minifigures, and then we start to get the pieces together to be able to finalize this whole build. As we mentioned before, there are just a ton of tile pieces, especially in this step, a ton of red tile pieces that allow you to make these pieces that all put together create a very nice looking outside frame for this whole build. Now we're starting to get into the home stretch for this set. A few other key things. On the front of the whole build, again, adding a couple more red plates to cover up the insides. And you notice on the left side there's a little basket that was created that will capture the coin after it's spit out of the machine. Now we transition to starting to build the top of this set, and that's where we're going to get back to those big clear pieces that we had unwrapped right after we'd unboxed the whole set. Those particular elements were developed brand new for this set by Lego. Before we put those on, here's another fun example of unique parts you should see. There's a little black hot dog piece right there connected to that little triangle plate. Again, trying to create angles in here as much as possible and avoid having corners where those Lego balls, they're going to be inside there. Don't want anything in there that can get hung up on to keep the balls from falling out of the machine. Here's another Fabuland character that's called Ernie Elephant, and another gold spaceman. And here is where we start to put in those clear pieces. So put a few of those around, and then another layer of plates and tiles that are clear so that we can connect a second row of those. And now we're to the point where we're finishing off this build by putting on the top. One thing we're going to add first is this gear that's going to go up through the middle. Again, those little pieces on there hit the balls as it rotates so that it just keeps them loose and keeps them tumbling outside of the apparatus. Again, don't want them to get hung up in there. And even with those big clear window pieces, this is a very strong build, especially with that frame we've added on the top there. Adding a couple more plates around the top, and then the final bag, bag 11, we have this final minifigure, and then we dive into building the actual top, which is removable. So you can be able to take the balls out, but then be able to put them back in as well. So here's the moment of truth. We have completed the build. Now we're going to take all 16 of those balls with the minifigure parts on the inside of them, load them into the build. Then we're going to add the top on there, take the coin that we've built, stick it into the apparatus, turn the crank, and as you can see, that ball pops right out. We pop open that ball, get the minifigure pieces out, and there's Bernard Bear from Fabuland once again. Here's another close-up look at it, how it works. Take one of the coins, stick it into the slot. You gotta kind of make sure it goes all the way down with your finger, and then you can turn the crank, turn it around twice, the coin comes back out, and that ball has popped out of the machine. Really pleased with how this turned out. Glad that I picked it up. Highly recommend this for other Lego fans.